Marvel Rivals Season 1 is right around the corner, and we've got Fantastic Four revealed as the next heroes coming into the game. Now, there's been discussions about certain leaks going around as well in regards to hero releases that, you know what, I don't mind talking about it that much on this channel either. One of the things that was told to us was the fact that by leakers that are pretty damn reputable, as they've been leaking skins, voice lines, and also certain character release orders, was the fact that Blade and Ultron were actually going to come join into the game. Now, it does seem like Blade and Ultron, while they're both finished and completed, they've been pushed along to come out a little bit later, and the Fantastic Four are been pushed up to come out a little bit earlier than that, which is still pretty damn exciting because I think getting Fantastic Four as a character set, the Marvel family in the game, is still going to be relatively very exciting to have in the game. Now, what else is really interesting as well is there's a particular leak that's going around which actually talks about the nerfs that are coming into the game. Now, before we dig into the nerfs and things like that, there is a particular topic that I really wanted to discuss with you guys that I, d- I don't know. I want your guys' opinions on what you guys think of this. How do you feel about seasonal buffs? I think Marvel Rivals is trying to do something a little bit interesting over here, where if I open up the hero tab, you can clearly see that there's this little yellow icon down here. It's not just Spider-Man that has it, Wanda has it as well, Magic has it, Hawkeye has it, and this is called a seasonal bonus. Now, let me give you guys a better look at that. Hold on a second here. Let me just swing by to the team up tab because it actually just shows you, you know, the bonus that they get. Hold on. Now you can see over here is that the anchors for the different team ups, they actually get season bonuses. So you can see Wanda gets a 10% damage increase. You can see that Spider-Man gets a 10% damage boost, and this is a lot of people get this confused. This is active at all times. You don't need your corresponding targets. Like for example, like Wanda doesn't need Magneto on the team to get the damage boost. For the season, she has the 10% damage boost. Venom as well has 150 max health, right? Magic also gets the 15% damage boost. Now the interesting thing over here as well is some of the more overpowered characters like Hawkeye, they have a 20% season boost, and then you have Hela who has the 20% damage boost as well. So the real question is that is seasonal boosts a good idea, right? There's multiple ways to look at this. I think seasonal boosts are also an interesting take into balance, where I think the dev team is actually experimenting with different breakpoints in order to see if the new numbers would fit the characters or not before they finalize on it. For example, Spider-Man and Magic have the damage boosts on them. Magic has a 15% damage increase and Spider-Man has a 10%. I'm not going to lie to you guys. While Spider-Man and Magic are pretty damn popular in casual levels of play and everything, the better you get at the game, the more you realize that the melee flanking characters are actually not as good as people make them out to be, and they begin to drop off hard. They can still work in very specific circumstances if you can get some of the more powerful supports banned, but more often than not, they can still feel very underwhelming to play. So if Spider-Man or Magic lose the damage boost that they have over the seasonal boost, I think they're going to be really, really bad. And you know, this is something that I hope that now that they've kind of experimented that, hey, maybe Magic can keep that 15% damage boost, maybe Spider-Man can keep the 10% damage boost, maybe we keep this around in order to help the heroes feel better, right? I think Wanda, you know, Scarlet Witch is another character that the 10% damage boost, it doesn't even do that much for her compared to a character like Hela and Hawkeye and what their damage boost does for them. So that then brings us to the real question: is Hela and Hawkeye broken because of the seasonal bonus, right? I think an argument can be made that Hela might actually become relatively balanced once she loses the 20% damage boost, but Hawkeye might actually still be a pretty damn good pick right after that, right? I can see Hela going down to maybe a maximum A tier pick on longer sideline maps, and then she's like, you know, a situational character who won't necessarily be strong everywhere. However, Hawkeye, I think, may be underrated because of the way his crit mechanic works. I think Hawkeye might still have a place in the game even if he was to lose his 20% damage boost. Now, it doesn't just apply to some DPS as well. For example, Rocket Raccoon actually has the 5% healing bonus, which I'm not going to write. Rocket's actually one of the weaker healers in the game. And if he loses that healing bonus, then I feel really bad because I don't know if the hero is even just going to be good or not. And then you have the fact that, you know, while Luna Snow does have a very strong ultimate, I think her healing is pretty mid tier. It's not like Mantis levels of healing or Adam Warlock levels of healing. At least in my opinion, she is single target, and she does rely a lot on using her shift and her guard to really maximize her value. So if Luna loses that 15% healing bonus, what happens to her, right? I feel like just applying this across the board, this is just something we need to discuss in general. Like, you know, is seasonal buffs a way to test out numbers that we potentially want to give characters, or is this just generally something because of the lore or story that's going on? Because I do believe that I was told that actually the seasonal bonuses, they're all related to characters that are having like moments or like big moments happening in the in-game universe, which even if that's the case, I think that's a little bit silly. Now, I want to discuss something that I found online, and I'm not saying that this is true. However, some of the things from this image are lining up pretty well. Now, this is the image on your screen right now. This is a schedule of what's going to be coming to Marvel Rivals from a content perspective on YouTube, where we're going to be shown on January 6th the season 1 trailer, where we know we're going to be shown the Fantastic Four for the first time. On January 7th, we're going to get the dev vision where they're going to address the performance and optimization issues, along with the fact that, now, this is the interesting thing, we're getting a buff to Venom, Captain America, Wolverine, Storm, Cloak and Dagger, with a debuff or nerf coming to Hela and Hawkeye. So my question now is, what does that look like? Is this buff to Venom the health buff that he has in the game? Or in my personal opinion, I think Venom could use a little bit more damage, and the same goes to Captain America. Wolverine could use a little bit more help from the way he's playing with, interacting with the other squishy characters. Storm could just use an overall movement boost and just a lot of help in general. Cloak and Dagger are not that bad, but they do feel like they could use a little bit of help, because again, Cloak and Dagger are buffed by the 20% healing, so maybe the devs felt like it's fine to bring them to this area and go from there. And then the nerfs going to Hela and Hawkeye are pretty damn expected, but I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit disappointed to see that none of these supports are getting nerfed. Now, I'm going to be fair to you guys. I don't think there needs to be that heavy-handed nerfs to supports. I think, realistically speaking, we just need to nerf Luna Snow's ultimate, because it's a little bit too much compared to a lot of the other support ultimates and just ultimates in the game. It legitimately can last almost two team fights long, with how much that thing goes on and how fast team fights can start and finish in this game, which is actually pretty damn ridiculous. I think maybe Mantis could see a small nerf to the way that her seed uptime or her healing, or like how fast it bursts onto a target, just to kind of like bring these things into line just a little bit. But again, like, I'm completely okay with where and what they want to do with support, but I think it is still a little bit surprising that at the moment they're not considering any direct nerfs to meta supports like Luna and Mantis, and maybe they will be popular picks that might be getting banned out. And who knows, maybe Susan Storm, since we do know that she is going to be a strategist, the Invisible Woman. We do know she's going to be a support. Maybe she is going to overtake Mantis and Luna very, very quickly. So maybe that's why they don't want to jump the gun, knowing that the meta may shift. And another character that I'm actually concerned for is Rocket Raccoon. I think, I think Jeff has a place in the game. He's a bit of a niche character, a great, pub stomper, low elo character. Loki's also fine, Adam's also fine, but I do think Rocket's not being talked about enough. Where I think, Rocket has his place in the game as well, but his damage and his healing are very, very low for being able to compete with the rest of the support roles. So one of the things I'd like to see is Rocket get a little bit of help, but that's just me, right? Then from the damage roll, we already know that they're addressing Hela and Hawkeye, which is a pretty damn good thing. And I don't think the rest of the DPS characters are that broken. They're all pretty relative to one another. They all have specific niches that they fill, with a few of them being pretty damn good generalists. I would like to see a bit of a fall off given to Psylocke, because I think it's a little bit ridiculous that Psylocke can actually snipe you as Iron Man across the map and just take you out because she barely has any fall off given to her. So one of the things I'd like to be seen to Psylocke's kit is give her a little bit of fall off. Another character that I feel like could use some help, and this might be the blistering hot take. I do know he has a seasonal bonus at the moment, but I don't think that seasonal bonus even helps him. So I do think Iron Fist's cooldowns are way too high for a character that's so easily shut down. And that's another character that I feel like that they could possibly reapproach and help in terms of a kit. That's one that stands out to me. We do know that Captain America is getting a buff, and I'm praying to God that it is a damage buff, because I think we all can agree that Captain America is actually one of the most fun tanks to play. But the one thing holding him back is his damage is a little bit pathetic, and then the fact like there's that random 1 second cooldown in between his shield, uptime. So like he cannot put his shield back up instantly, put it up, put it down, put it up, put it down. So it would be really nice if they could allow for that. As for the other tanks, I think they're actually pretty fine. If there's any tank that I would maybe want to approach and nerf, and this one might be a hot take, but I think Groot is a bit way too strong. I do understand Groot has the seasonal bonus, but that character is a little bit way too silly for my liking. So, in my personal opinion, I would like to see something to happen to Groot as well. So, everybody, that's going to be it for this, season one, I guess, preview video where we have an idea of what are the nerfs that are coming, what are the buffs that are coming, and then my opinions on what I would like to see. So now I have a question for you guys. What type of buffs and nerfs would you like to see across the board? I will say one thing. I would like to see a buff to Scarlet Witch and Iron Fist. I personally think like we have to forget about noob stomping in this game. Like relatively speaking, Iron Fist is actually very easily shut down once you start getting better at the game, because you just shoot the guy and there's like literally nothing you can do, and his block is like a 15-20 second cooldown, which is ridiculous. And then Scarlet Witch, like she has potential to be a great anti-dive character, but her kit is really clunky, and there's a lot of ways that they could easily fix her to give her a place in the game. They could maybe tighten up the radius on her, on her magical suck, and then actually give her a little bit more damage or faster regeneration rate on her chaos magic, so she can spam out the projectiles even faster. So with that being said, everybody, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the balance, and where do you want it to go down below. And as usual, if you want more Marvel Rivals educational content and discussions, do subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one.